The next morning early, a company of spearmen, bearing with them the green banner of the Elvenking and the blue banner of the lake, advanced before the wall at the gate. Thorin hailed them.
"Who are you that come armed for war?"
Bard answered. "Hail, Thorin! Why do you fence yourself like a robber in his hold? We came expecting to find none living here. Yet now that we are met, there is a matter for a parley and a council."
"Who are you? And of what would you parley?"
"I am Bard, and by my hand was the dragon slain and your treasure delivered. Is that not a matter that concerns you? Moreover, I am by right descent the heir of Girion of Dale, and in your hoard is mingled much of the wealth of his halls and towns which old Smaug stole. Is that not a matter of which we may speak? Further, in his last battle Smaug destroyed the dwellings of the men of Esgaroth, and I am yet the servant of their master. I would speak for him, and ask whether you have no thought for the sorrow and misery of his people. They aided you in your distress, and in recompense you have thus far brought ruin only, though doubtless undesigned."
"You put your worst cause last and in the chief place. To the treasure of my people no man has a claim, because Smaug, who stole it from us, also robbed him of life or home. The treasure was not his, that his evil deed should be amended with a share of it. The price of the goods and the assistance that we have received of the lake men we will fairly pay, in due time. But nothing will we give, not even a loaf's worth, under threat of force. I will not parley with armed men at my gate, nor at all with the people of the Elvenking, whom I remember with small kindness. Begone now ere our arrows fly, and if you would speak with me again, first dismiss the elvish host to the woods where it belongs, and then return, laying down your arms before you approach the threshold. The Elvenking is my friend, and he has helped the people of the lake in their need, though they had no claim but friendship on him. We will give you time to repent your words. Gather your wisdom ere we return." Then he departed, and went back to the camp. Ere many hours were past, the banner-bearers returned, and trumpeters stood forth and blew a blast. "In the name of Esgaroth and the forest," cried the herald, "we bid you consider well the claims that have been urged or be declared our foe. At the least, you shall deliver 1/12 portion of the treasure unto Bard as the dragon slayer and as the heir of Girion. From that portion Bard will himself contribute to the aid of Esgaroth, but if Thorin would have the friendship and honor of the lands about, as his sires had of old, then he will give also somewhat of his own for the comfort of the men of the lake." Then Thorin seized a bow of horn and shot an arrow at the speaker. It smote into his shield and stuck there, quivering. "Since such is your answer," called the herald, "I declare the mountain besieged. You shall not depart from it until you call on your side for a truce and a parley. We will bear no weapons against you, but we leave you to your gold. You may eat that if you will." With that, the messengers departed swiftly, and the dwarves were left to consider their case. Bilbo disapproved of the whole turn of affairs. "The whole place still stinks of dragon," he grumbled to himself, "and it makes me sick." The days passed slowly and wearily. Often Thorin spoke of the Arkenstone of Thrain, and bade them eagerly to look for it in every corner. "For the Arkenstone of my father," he said, "is worth more than a river of gold in itself, and to me it is beyond price. I will be avenged on anyone who finds it and withholds it." Bilbo grew afraid, wondering what would happen if the stone was found, wrapped in an old bundle of tattered oddments that he used as a pillow. All the same, he did not speak of it, for the beginnings of a plan had come into his little head. Then the ravens brought news that Dane and more than 500 dwarves hurrying from the Iron Hills were now within about 2 days' march of Dale.
"But they cannot reach the mountain unmarked," said Roak, "and I fear lest there be a battle in the valley. I do not call this good counsel." Though they are a grim folk, they are not likely to overcome the host that besets you. The treasure is likely to be your death, though the dragon is no more."
But Thorin was not moved. "Winter and snow will bite men and elves. With my friends behind them and winter upon them, they will perhaps be in softer mood to parley with." That night, Bilbo made up his mind. The sky was black and moonless. As soon as it was full dark, he went to a corner of an inner chamber just within the gate and drew from his bundle a rope and also the Arkenstone wrapped in a rag. Then he climbed to the top of the wall. So that Bomba, who was on watch, should not see him, Bilbo put on his ring, fastened his rope, slipped down over the wall, and was gone. He climbed down towards the lower course of the stream. He was nearly across when he missed his footing and fell into the cold water with a splash. He had barely scrambled out on the far bank, shivering and spluttering, when up came elves in the gloom with bright lanterns and searched for the cause of the noise. "That was no fish," one said. "There is a spy about. Hide your lights." "Oh, let's have a light," Bilbo said. "I'm here if you want me." And he slipped off his ring and popped from behind a rock. They seized him quickly in spite of their surprise. "Who are you? Are you the dwarves' hobbit? What are you doing? How did you get so far past our sentinels?" "I am Mr. Bilbo Baggins, companion of Thorin, if you want to know. I know your king well by sight, but it is Bard I particularly want to see." Some 2 hours after his escape from the gate, Bilbo was sitting beside a warm fire in front of a large tent, and there sat too, gazing curiously at him, both the Elvenking and Bard.